Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings.
Today's podcast is sponsored by SLI Systems, providers of intelligent site search and navigation solutions. Learn more at sli-systems.com and listen to their interviews at ecommercepodcast.com.
Your path to e-commerce success starts right here. You're listening to Practical Ecommerce, the podcast for e-commerce results.
Okay, welcome back to another Practical Ecommerce Magazine podcast. This month is December 2005, and what we have is the interview from our magazine this month with a state senator from North Dakota named Dwight Cook, who is sort of spearheading the Streamlined sales tax project. If you're not familiar with what the Streamlined sales tax project is, take a look at our magazine. It's been a hot topic lately. It has to do with the way that online businesses are charged sales tax. In the past, it's been a very fuzzy issue, and it has been something that has, for the most part, been so ambiguous that everybody's just sort of looked the other way. But this is an issue that revolves around billions of dollars of revenue made online, and states are starting to band together. There's a lot of work being done to simplify the sales tax laws so that online businesses can be taxed and also will have an easier time figuring out their tax. So our staff writer Michael Cox had a chance to speak with Senator Dwight Cook from North Dakota, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mike and enjoy the interview.
All right. We're talking with Senator Dwight Cook, state senator from the state of North Dakota, one of the prominent figures in the Streamlined sales tax project. And Senator Cook, I'm wondering if you can give us a thumbnail sketch on how this whole sales tax project thing got started.
Well, Mike, I'll sure give it a try. I think we go back to the early 1990s when the state of North Dakota tried to get a out-of-state catalog company called Quill that was selling office supplies into North Dakota. But North Dakota tried to insist that Quill would collect and remit our sales tax. That went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled on behalf of Quill, and their reason was that the administration of state sales tax laws are so complex that it would place an undue burden on remote sellers to have to collect and remit it. And so based on that Supreme Court decision, National Council of State Legislatures, a group of it's a legislative organization, and the National Council of Governors both started to figure out a way for states to get at the table and simplify their sales tax laws, and that got put into place in the early turn of the century here. In about 2001, North Dakota passed laws to join the rest of the states, and the implementing states was formed. Today we've got 44 states sitting at that table. We have a agreement that takes a big step in simplifying the administration of sales tax, and we have 13 states that are in full compliance of the agreement.
Now, I understand that when this thing first sort of, exploded on the retail scene, and of course the internet became a big factor in doing a lot of interstate sales. The biggest problem is the number of different taxing entities. How many are there?
That's exactly right. We have over 7,000 local taxing jurisdictions in the United States, and the individual authority that each one of these local jurisdictions has varies by state, but in some cases, these local jurisdictions, counties or cities, they levy their own tax, they determine what is taxed, and they collect their own tax. And so that's probably, if you're a retailer and anybody that collects and remits sales tax, they understand the complexity of these local jurisdictions, and that was probably our biggest challenge.
Now, I would have guessed the next biggest challenge is getting, in essence, 7,000 different people to agree. What were some of the things that created acrimony during all of the negotiations and the meetings?
Well, that was definitely one issue, the local jurisdictions, and we, to really simplify Streamlined, one option one might rationalize is to eliminate all these local jurisdictions. Politically, that was never an option, so we had to simplify the administration. One of the changes, of course, is that if a state has local jurisdictions, the state has to collect and remit the sales tax. So there'd be one central collection point, and then that state would send those taxes to the local jurisdiction. Another issue was that the tax base of the local jurisdiction had to be the same as the state. If the state taxed it, then the local jurisdiction had to tax it, and vice versa. That's the two that come to the front of my mind.
Now, I would guess that no two states treat different things that are taxed the same. For example, in some states, food is taxed, and in some states, food isn't taxed. But then, isn't there a deeper question on what actually constitutes food?
That's right. Yeah. What constitutes food? What constitutes candy? Really, there's four issues under this heading of what we might eat or drink. There's groceries or food. There's prepared food. There's candy, and then there's pop.
I understand candy there was a lot of discussion about candy.
It took us some time to finally come up with a definition of candy that would be uniform through all the states. In other words, a state determines whether it taxes candy, but let candy be candy in all the states. It was crazy, unbelievable. We ended up with a definition regarding flour, and for example, licorice used to be candy in many states. It's groceries now.
Oh, really?
Sure.
Okay. So even though the Supreme Court back in '92 said that this burden would create a problem for all of the retailers, that didn't wipe out the obligation to collect and remit sales taxes, did it?
No, it didn't. And a lot of people, that's a very good question, because there's a lot of people that think that when Quill prevailed, that the Supreme Court had said it's illegal to force remote sellers. It's not. It's the reason, of course, is because of the complexity of it. So once we remove the complexity, we fully expect Congress to overturn Quill versus North Dakota with legislation, and that legislation is about to be introduced.
So at this point in history, we have I think enough states and enough representative population to put your project into force. Is that right?
We have one of the criteria that we set upon ourselves before we implemented this is that we needed at least 10 states with at least 20% of the population from the states that have a sales tax. We had to have them in conformance before we started it, and we reached that goal on October 1 of 2005 with 13 states and 20%. And we have 6 other states, I believe, that are ready to come on board, and of course that leaves 25 of them that are still at some phase, and for the most part all working towards becoming a compliant state.
So now that we're going to move into compliance, what exactly does that mean to the remote seller? Let's say we have somebody out there who's sort of felt in limbo, and now they know that we're going to have to collect and remit sales taxes. What's their job now? What do they do?
Well, I'd like to answer that two ways. One, what does it mean to those remote sellers who already are collecting and remitting sales tax to multiple states? What it means to them is they will have one place now where they can register for all of the compliant states. But more importantly than that, of course, it means that there's some simplification regarding the administration, but they will subject themselves to only one audit rather than 13 different audits from all 13 states that they might collect and remit.
So
for those who are not in compliance or who are not collecting right now, now's a good time to really take a look at the issue as to whether or not you should not be collecting. There's a lot of gray area out there between do you or do you not have nexus, do you or do you not have a requirement to collect for particular states. At this time, because of what we've done, we're in a 1-year window where there's some amnesty that's being offered to remote sellers who would take this time to an advantage of this opportunity to register and start collecting the sales tax.
When that year is up, then there could be some penalties involved if they are not in compliance.
That's true. There's always the risk, who has to and who does not have to collect and remit sales tax is an issue in every state. Every state has their tax department that's constantly looking for remote sellers or sellers who have an obligation to collect and remit and to see that they do so. And of course, there's penalties if you have that obligation and you do not carry it out.
So now we have everybody. Let's assume we have everybody on the same page, and the remote sellers are going to start collecting and remitting sales taxes. One of the things that the Streamlined Sales Tax Project did was make it easier for them to do that, right?
That's right, yeah. And we have just, in my mind, this is a personal opinion, but we've just scratched the surface as far as simplifying it. We can go a lot further yet, and that'll be an ongoing process. The comment I make is the road to perfection is always under construction, and we're on that road.
So tell me about the certified service providers and the certified automation system that was developed under the project that will streamline the whole process.
Okay, there's really two ways to, you might say, to overturn Quill versus North Dakota to remove the complexity. One is to truly simplify laws, and the other, of course, is with the use of software. I like to think that this project has been a combination of the both, and the software that we envisioned and that has now been developed is called a certified automated system. It's, of course, software that'll just figure out somebody's sales tax based on the zip code of where the product is being shipped. The other creation here is what we call a certified service provider. That would be a third-party entity that would actually collect and remit a seller's sales tax for them. And the agreement has a mechanism in there for these certified service providers to get paid by the states, and hopefully it can be done so that it's at a relatively low or no cost to the sellers.
How will the seller find out who is available as a service provider?
We don't have the service providers yet. We're in the process. We're like a week or two away, I believe, of having a automated system certified, the first one. And then we're in the process of negotiating with companies that are interested in being a CSP, and that's ongoing right now. Once we have them in place, that'll certainly be on the website.
So we've, in essence, created a whole new industry with these service providers.
We created a whole new industry, and that was on the table from the beginning, how we vision that we might truly move forward and simplify this so that remote sellers can collect and remit the sales tax, and that we've truly reduced the burden that has always been placed on them in the past.
How much longer do you think it's going to take before all 50 states are involved and all of the questions have sort of been removed? I assume there'll always be questions, but is there a timetable that the project is looking at?
When I look in my crystal ball, I would hope that, like I said, this road to perfection is always under construction. There's some issues out there that some states really have some serious problems with, and it's going to take much longer for them. I think the key is that we get it up and running, and we get a year of success underneath us, that other states start seeing the the revenue that is now starting to come in that we were losing in the past. And, once that happens, I think that you're going to see this move rather quickly. It's tough to put a time frame on there. I think we all have our goals. I would hope that within 5 years that a lot of this is behind us.
Will there always be an ongoing committee or project to sort of continue to ride herd on this?
Yes, there will. That is what we call the governing board, and that is what I am the president of right now. I was elected the first president, and my term will end in October of 2006, and then we have Miss Joan Wagner that'll follow. She's the tax commissioner from the state of Kansas, and so that'll be ongoing for into the unforeseeable future, and the way that we administer this and continually address concerns and issues and changes that have to be made.
Now, is it only irony, or was it by design that Dwight Cook, who happens to be from the state that sort of started the whole thing, is very much involved in this?
That is strictly by chance. It's ironic. I certainly was not looking for that position. I think the rationale of the nominating committee was that they wanted to start out with a legislator, and I was certainly a legislator that's been very active in this from the beginning, and probably ended up in, I don't know if I should say the right spot at the right time or the wrong spot at the right time, but that's how I got there.
It's a big job, and it looks like you've been successful in at least getting the ball rolling on what's been a very difficult problem, not only for retailers, but I would guess for government entities as well. So,
well, it's been quite a joy, actually. It's as a legislator, it's been quite an exciting process. When I keep saying this road to perfection is always under construction, we have another road out there, and it's that highway system that we all drive on.
Uh-huh.
Michael, just as there was a day when no one knew what a computer was or what an internet sale was, there was also a day where no one knew what an automobile was,
right,
or what a road was. Do you know that it was in 1910 that it took till 1910 before this country saw its first stop sign?
Didn't know
and
that.
And it took another 50 years before we had a standard stop sign across this country, one that is red on both sides and the shape that it is, and so that everybody, no matter where you drive in this country, you know what a stop sign is. But when you think of all of the laws that had to be put in place so that we could drive seamlessly across this country, across state borders, I compare that so much to the same challenge that we have right now with this whole new thing called internet sales.
Very good.
And we will handle it.
Thank you. Dwight, thanks very much for taking the time this afternoon.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
All right, and that wraps up another month of our Practical Ecommerce podcast. We hope you got some good information out of the interview. If nothing else, some food for thought to go look for some more answers. Don't forget to check out our website at www.practicalecommerce.com. You can get tutorials, articles, all kinds of good information for e-commerce business owners and really anybody that has any kind of vested interest in e-commerce. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you soon.